Bonjour les filles. Aujourd'hui, nous allons apprendre quelques nouveaux verbes. Et ce sont des verbes en ER, comme les verbes qu'on a déjà appris. Mais ces verbes sont un peu différents et vous allez voir que les accents changent. Et vous pouvez trouver ces verbes à la page 170 dans le livre. Ok, on a déjà appris ce verbe quand on a parlé du vocabulaire. Acheter, to buy. And this verb is a boot verb, meaning that the stem is different inside the boot from what it is outside the boot. And remember that the nu and vu conjugations are like the infinitive. There's no accent. But all the conjugations inside the boot, the stem changes. So you add an accent grave to that middle E right there. And this actually, remember, changes the pronunciation. So let's go through them really quickly just to make sure that we're all on the same page about the pronunciation of acheter. So you have j'achète, tu achètes, il achète. And then when we get outside the boot, that E kind of is dropped almost in the pronunciation. So you say nous achetons, et n'oubliez pas la liaison, vous achetez. So achetons, acheter. And then back inside the boot, ils achètent or elles achètent. Comme par exemple, j'achète une nouvelle robe. Okay, so there are other verbs that are similar in that the stem changes inside the boot. But this time with this verb, espérer, to hope, there's already an accent in the infinitive, and this is an accent aigu. In acheter, there was no accent. So just like with acheter, outside the boot, with the nu and the vu, it stays like the infinitive. It is like the infinitive. The accent is the same as the infinitive. But inside the boot, the accent is going to change to go the other way, so it's an accent grave. So it's changing directions. Let's go through this pronunciation. J'espère, tu espères, il espère, nous espérons, vous espérez, and then do we ever pronounce the ENT? The answer, of course, is no. So, elles espèrent. And then the last kind of boot verb is when you have a Y instead of the accent there. A Y in the infinitive, like envoyer, to send. So again, you have outside the boot with the nu and the vu is just like the infinitive. It has a Y. And then inside the boot, that Y actually changes to an I. So instead of changing an accent, we're actually changing a letter. So, j'envoie. Tu envoies makes that wa sound. On envoie. Nous envoyons, liaison. Vous envoyez. And then ils envoient. Voix, envoie. Et on ne prononce pas le ENT. Ok, et voici d'autres verbes qui sont conjugués comme les verbes qu'on a déjà vus. Célébrer, ça veut dire to celebrate. And it's kind of easy. It's a little bit of a cognate there. Celebrate. So in this verb, this accent is the one that's going to change inside the boot. It's that middle E. Considérer, to consider. Most of these are cognates, so they're really kind of easy. To possess, like to own something. To prefer, préférer. We will use this verb a lot. This is a really useful verb, like I prefer this, I prefer that. Protéger, to protect. Répéter, we've used this before. Répétez s'il vous plaît. To repeat. Again, since with préférer and répéter, it's just like célébrer, it's that second accent that's going to change inside the boot. Employer, to use or to employ. Essayer, to try. This verb can often be followed by another verb in the infinitive, to try to do something. For example, j'essaie de faire du ski nautique. where I try to water ski, and that second verb faire is in the infinitive. J'essaie de faire du ski nautique. I would write that sentence down probably. To clean, nettoyer, and then payer, to pay. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video now and take a few minutes to fill in this verb chart. And remember, the nous and vous are the ones that are outside the boot, and those ones are going to be, the accents are going to be just like in the infinitive. The ones inside the boot, which is all the others, the accent is going to change. And when there's two accents, it's always the second accent that changes. Whenever there's only one accent, like considérer and posséder, then that's the accent that's going to change. So now that you've hopefully paused, let's take a look at the answers. Okay, voici les réponses. Hopefully I have no typos. Make sure to check my work. Make sure I have no typos in here. So you'll notice actually kind of the way I remember this is when there's two accents and one of the accents is changing the second accent, you then have kind of like a TP going on, leaning against that middle consonant. So with célébrer, it's leaning against the L, a TP, leaning against the L. Another thing to note is with protéger, that is like the verb manger, where the new form has to add in that extra E, like nous mangeons. That is what makes that G soft. There's an S there. Otherwise, it would be mangon if we just did M-A-N-G-O-N-S. So we have to add in that extra E. Any ER verbs that end in G-E-R do that. Only in the new conjugation, though. So protégeons, we added in that extra E just there. Okay, and here are the verbs that are also stem-changing verbs, but these are a little different. We are replacing the Y with an I inside the boot. So go ahead and pause now and give these ones a try, see if you can conjugate these. Okay, voici les réponses. Remember, with nous and vous, it stays like the infinitive. And then inside the boot, it changes to an I. Emploi, emploi, emploi. Essaie, essaie, essaie. Nettoie, nettoie, nettoie. And then paye, paye, paye. Je paye. Okay, so before we finish, let's practice answering some questions. And next time in class, I'm going to be asking you to answer these questions for me. I'll ask you the questions, and I'll expect you to have answers ready. So go ahead, I'll read them to you, and then write in complete sentences, of course, en phrase complète, your answers. So, numéro 1. Qu'est-ce que tu achètes pour la fête des mères? Mother's Day, la fête des mères. Numéro 2. Qu'est-ce que tu achètes au centre commercial, comme Northgate ou Hamilton Place, au centre commercial? Numéro 3. Est-ce que tu célèbres les anniversaires de tes amis? Numéro 4. Est-ce que tu envoies, typo, S, I-E-S-E. Est-ce que tu envoies beaucoup d'emails? Et numéro 5. Oui, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oui. Qu'est-ce que tu espères faire cet été? So, remember, yes or no questions, just have est-ce que, and then with qu'est-ce que, I'm looking for more information. So have those answers ready by class tomorrow. La fin. Au revoir les filles.